Hello everyone. In the previous class, we have discussed about the modules and instances. In today's class, we will see components of a simulation. So once we complete our design work, we need to check or verify for its functionality whether the program or the design is working properly or not. So the functionality of the design block can be tested by applying stimulus and we can check the results or the outcomes. We call such a block the stimulus block. That means whatever the test block that we are going to apply for the design block is called as stimulus block. So it's a good practice to keep the stimulus and design block separate. So we are going to separately write the design block. First we are going to write the design block, then we are going to apply a stimulus block to test the functionality of that particular design. For this purpose, we do not require any separate language. We only require the Verilog HDL language itself. So in common language, this stimulus block is also called as test bench. So stimulus and test bench are both same. So we can either use the name stimulus block or we can use test bench. As the name suggests, test bench, it is going to use to test the design block. So different test benches can be used to thoroughly test the design block. So there are two styles are available here. The two styles of stimulus applications are possible. So in the first style, what we can do is the test bench or the stimulus block instantiates the design block and directly drives the signals of the design block. So in the first style, what we can do is the stimulus block is going to instantiate the design block and directly drives the design block. So the figure is shown the same. Stimulus block instantiates design block. So here this is the first style of design or test bench. So here stimulus block becomes the top level block here. So remember here design block is not a top level block. Stimulus block itself is a top level block to test the design. It manipulates signals. For in this example, it is going to manipulate the signals clock and reset, because clock and reset are the inputs. That's why it is going to be manipulated, and it checks and displays output signal Q, as Q is the output signal of that design block, ripple carry counter. So it checks the output of the Q and it is going to display the output signal Q by varying the values of the clock and the reset, because clock and reset are the inputs and Q is the output. So this is the stimulus block instantiation design block. This is the first style. So this is the second style. Stimulus and design blocks instantiated in a dummy top level module. So in the second style of applying stimulus is to instantiate both the stimulus block as well as the design block in a top level dummy module. So one more top level dummy module is created here, and stimulus block as well as design block both are going to be instantiated. So here stimulus block is going to communicate with the design block through the interface. So this is a second style of stimulus. So this style of applying stimulus is shown in this figure. So here stimulus block, which consists of D clock, D reset and C Q. Out of these three signals, D clock and D reset, these are the input signals which are connected to the signal clock and signal reset from the design block. It also checks and displays the Q signal, that is CQ, which is connected to the signal Q in the design block. So the function of the top level block is simply to instantiate the design and stimulus block. So this is the second style of stimulus simulation. We will see an example, the ripple carry counter using as a top block. So to verify the concept, whatever we have discussed now, let us complete this by simulating a design block, that is ripple carry counter. So this design block, how we have written, we are going to discuss these things, that is programming part, in the later chapters, second module and third module. But here only we concentrate on stimulus, how the design block is available and how the stimulus block is available. So we will define the design block and stimulus block. So we are going to apply a stimulus to the design block and we are going to monitor the output, that is Q output. We are going to monitor here. So as we develop the Verilog modules, you do not need to understand the exact syntax of each constructs here, because number of constructs, number of syntaxes are going to be present in this program. So no need to worry about all those things at this point of time. We can study all those things in the later modules. So in the design block, this, as we have studied in this module, there are two different type of methodologies, top down methodology and bottom up methodology. First we are going to use the top down methodology, that is first we are going to create a top module, then we are going to create a sub modules until it reaches a leaf cell. So this is called as a top down methodology. So first we are going to write a Verilog description of the top level design block. So this is a top level design block, whatever that appears in the screen, that is module ripple carry counter. So module ripple carry counter, you can refer the previous block diagram of the ripple carry counter, 4-bit ripple carry counter, in which we have a Q, clock and reset. Q is, there are 4 outputs, Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3, and there are 2 inputs, clock and reset. So output 3 down to 0, it is a vector, so its value are going to be Q0, Q1, Q2 and Q3. So as it is a vector, only one time you need to declare it as a Q. Then input, there are only one time inputs are required here. Observe the block diagram in the previous section or in the previous class. So input, clock and reset. Now we are going to instantiate 4 instances of the module T flip-flops, because in the 4-bit ripple carry counter we have 4 T flip-flops, TFF0, TFF1, TFF2 and TFF3. As this is a gate level modeling, as per the design of that particular block diagram is available. So according to that, the instantiation is done. So TFF0 is the instant name. Its output and inputs are Q of 0, clock and reset. Similarly TFF1, so observe the TFF1 block. So its output is Q of 1. Its input is coming from the, that is clock input is coming from the previous output, that is connected to the connected as a clock pulse. So Q of 0 will be acting as a clock pulse for the TFF1. Then reset is common input for all the 4 flip-flops. Like this the instantiation is done. So module has to be finished by using a end module keyword. So this is a top level module. Next one is D flip flop. So we have to create T flip flop also. T flip flop also we have discussed in the previous class. That is T flip flop, one T flip flop, Q, clock and reset. Again that those are going to be declaration has to be done, output, input and wire, and D flip flop has to be instantiated. Then the third block is D flip flop. So in the D flip flop, module D flip flop, its input and outputs, Q, D, clock and reset, its declaration part. Then as here again there are new constructs are used, that is always block, if and else. If and else both these are same as C programming language. So as per the required algorithm for the D flip flop, this program is written. So at this point of time you no need to worry about this. Then the stimulus block. So we must now write the stimulus block to check if the ripple carry counter design is functioning correctly or not. In this case, we must control the signal clock reset so that the regular function of the ripple carry counter and the asynchronous reset mechanism are both going to be tested. So we are going to use the waveform here. So observe here waveform, the clock signal. So the clock signal is continuously transiting its value from 0 to 1, 1 to 0 with a fixed frequency. So this is a clock pulse. Then reset, initially it was high value, then it becomes 0. Reset pin becomes 0. So all these control signals, all these signals has to be changed in the programming itself, in the stimulus block. Then once the clock and resets are available, the output Q is available, Q 3 down to 0. So initially, even though clock pulse is available, but if the reset pin is high, the output must be asynchronously forced to 0. That's why the 0 Q output, the first output 0 is for long time. Then once again the clock particular edge is available, and if the reset pin is low, so counter starts counting the values. So you are going to get the first count from 0 to 1. So q is a vector 3 down to 0, so its value is q3, q2, q1 and q0. So all of its binary values, like for 1, if counter is 1, that means it is 0 0 0 1. So instead of showing separately the four different waveforms of q3, q2, q1, q0, so it is combinedly shown here. Its value in decimal is given here, 1 2 3 4 like this. So the counter value, as it's a 4-bit ripple carry counter, it starts counting from 0 and it goes up to 15. So once it reaches the 15, then again it comes back and start counting from 0 onwards until the reset pin is low. Once the reset pin is again high, it forcibly goes to the value 0. So this is the output of the ripple carry counter. To get this output, we must write the stimulus block. So in the stimulus block, we are going to apply the values of the inputs, and we are going to set the timing, and we can monitor the output. So this is the sample program of the stimulus block. So as of now you may not be understanding this. So module stimulus, the inputs clock and reset, inputs must be here declared as a register reg. Then wire q is of 4 bits, so it is wire has to be 3 down to 0. Then ripple carry counter instantiation, so it's a r1 instant. R1 can be any name, it is user defined name, just take any name here. Instead of R1 you can take any other name also. So Q, clock, reset are part of the inputs and outputs. Now control the clock signal that drives the design block. Here cycle time is taken as 10, that's why in the behavior modeling, the initial and always keywords are going to appear. So we will come across this in the later modules. So first initialize the value of clock. So clock is equal to 1 bit binary 0. So the meaning of that one is 1 tick B 0 means 1 is a how many bits it is. Then B is a binary type and value 0. It means clock is initially its value is 0. Then always #5 clock is equal to tidal sign clock. The meaning of this one, the always is a keyword here. After every 5 time units, the clock value is going to be complemented. Meaning is, now the clock value initially is 0. Now after 5 time units, it becomes 1. Again after 5 time units, it becomes 0. So this process is go on continue because the always keyword is used. So toggle clock every 5 time units. Then control reset signal that drives the design block. Reset is asserted from 0 to 20, from 200 to 220. So at any time you can change the value of this reset signal. Keep longer time for counter to count from 0 to 15, then you can reset it. So user can change decide what is the value of all these reset signals. So here some example is taken. So to set the reset values, reset first initially it was 1, that is 1 tick B1 means its value is 1. After 15 time units, reset becomes 0. After 180 time units, again reset becomes 1. Like this you can change the value of the reset. Then you can monitor the output. To monitor the output, the construct available is $monitor, similar to the scanf, printf statements in C. Here this construct is available, $monitor. So $monitor monitors the output Q for the $time. Time is also a construct here. So that particular time, the value of Q is monitored. So this is the sample output of the simulation. So Q output is 0 initially at the 0 time unit. After 20th time unit, Q becomes 1. Why? Because up to from 0 to 20 the reset was 1. That's why even though clock pulse was available, output is going to remain 0 only forcibly. So after 20 time units, Q becomes 1. Then as reset is 0 continuously, so counter starts counting from 0 to 15. After 15 it becomes again recycle 1 2. So at this moment again reset becomes high. That's why at 195 time unit Q becomes again 0. Then again it starts counting once the reset is 0. So this is a sample stimulus block. So here this is going to be end of the module number 1. So I will post the assignment questions as well as the form, so you can submit it within the given time. Thank you for watching the video.